the 140-pound class, there's a lot of newcomers there. Teofimo got there earlier last year. Ryan is about to make a run at 140. It feels like the world's your oyster if you win this fight, and you really.
When I win this fight.
When you become the shot caller at that point,
Yep.
2024, it could really be a big groundbreaking year for you, where you really make some generational wealth as well,
Right.
too. In an ideal world, is Ryan Garcia next for you?
I think so. I mean, well, the thing is, you know, I think the WBC just announced, from what I heard, the WBC announced that the winner of me and Devin has to fight Sandor Martin. That's the mandatory. That was who I was supposed to fight anyway. You know, I was supposed to fight Sandor Martin. They told me that was my mandatory, but they let it slide because of you know, with Devin and stuff. They let it slide, brother. Thank you, bro. Good work. Yeah, they let it slide. They let it step aside because of the Devin fight. So yeah, I would want that fight. Big fight. Ryan Garcia, a real big fight, but you know, whatever WBC say, that's what we gotta do.
Yeah, definitely. Sandor Martin is not going to be moving the needle quite like all the other top names in the division. Are you going to make sure that these big-time fights are going to be next for you with that win?
That's what I want. Like I said, that's every interview I do. I say, bro, I want the big fights. That's it. I don't want, you know, I don't want nothing else. I don't want step up fights and tune-up fights. I don't want none of that, bro. I just want big money, high-profile fights, bro. I train, bro. Like I said, I train too hard to, you know, fight lower. You know, not even saying lower competition, but just smaller names. I don't even want to do that. I'd rather go into the fight and fight the big names. Let's
have you wear your analysis hat on right now. With Ryan Garcia, he's fighting Oscar Duarte. Do you feel like he's biting off more than he might want to chew?
I don't know who Oscar Duarte is. I heard about he can punch and stuff like that, but honestly, I don't know who he is. I don't know. We'll see. When people have a loss like that, knockout loss, you know, sometimes, you know, their mind can get in the way. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with him. I don't know how it's gonna play out.
Yeah, Duarte, he's been 11 straight knockout wins ever since coming off his first loss from a split decision. So
right.
Definitely someone to keep an eye on in the 140-pound division. If he beats Ryan,
he'll be top shit.
Yeah.
If he beat Ryan, then he'll be one of the top people.
Exactly. How about you? It sounded like you think Tank is the best 135-pounder. Was that correct?
I don't know. I really can't tell. You know, the thing is, these guys have fought each other. You know, Tank is the biggest name. Devin had all the belts. Shakur looked like the most skillful. So at the same time, I literally don't know. You know, that's why it's so interesting. I don't know if you can still say Devin is at, you know, 35 because he's coming to fight me at 40. So, I don't know. I really can't tell. They have to fight each other, but we can look from the inside out, but at the same time, they have to fight each other. So it's those three, you know. Like I said, you know, Shakur, skill-wise, Shakur is really good. It's hard to hit him, and he plays the defensive thing. You know, Tank, biggest, you know, one of the biggest names in the sport, knockout artist, and he has skill too. But Devin had all the belts, so I don't know, bro. I don't know.
It felt like 2023 was a groundbreaking year to make the big-time fights fans desire.
Right.
And with Showtime's exodus, perhaps making these fights might even become a little easier now. Who knows? What is your message to the fighters in and around your division in order to get together and put egos aside and all this other stuff to make the fights happen, to make the legacy-defining fights happen?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we gotta do, bro. We have to. I think right now we are in the era of, you know, making the big fights. I think that's what we're doing. We in the era of making the you know, doing those high-profile fights and stuff like that. So let's just do it. You know, I think Oscar is that's what he really wants to do. He wants to make the fights, and I think right now, you know, in boxing, you definitely have to marinate fights, but sometimes you over-marinate them and you spoil the shit. So, but I think right now we are in the era of the big fights, and I'm loving it. You know, me and Devin is a big fight, and you know, Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence had a big fight. Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis had a big fight. Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder had a big fight. So, I think, you know, right now we need to continue that. We need to continue making these big fights, because at the same time, bro, people sick of seeing a fight where they just pick the round. They know who's gonna win already. They just picking, all right, you know, this dude will knock him out in this round. You know, I think we sick of seeing that. Me, even as a fighter, you know, I'm sick of seeing, all right, this is a mismatch, you know? Especially when these fighters are already at the top. Now, when they coming up, you're supposed to do that. You're supposed to match them a certain way. But when they when they coming up, man, when they already there, you know, start making the big fights.
Absolutely, and I think there's a lot of big fights to be made. There's outside of the A-listers, there's also the kinds of fighters like Jose Ramirez, who you've beefed back and forth with throughout the last few years. Arnold Barboza. There's a lot of fighters out there that still could be really competitive fights for you. Make a nice chunk of change while you do it as well too.